Ever feel like the world's trying to like squeeze you into some predefined mold?
Yeah.
Like to be successful, you got to fit in.
Yeah. Well, we're diving deep into Naval Ravikant's The Almanack of Naval Ravikant today,
Mm.
and hopefully uncovering a different path,
Yeah.
one where those quirks, the things that make you you, those are actually your biggest assets.
Absolutely. That's what's so refreshing about Naval's perspective. He really challenges that conventional wisdom,
Yeah.
drawing from his own life, going from a kid who relied on the public library as an escape to, well, you know him, self-made success story.
Okay, now I'm really hooked. So how does this library-loving kid go on to defy the odds? What's his secret sauce?
He'd probably say it's not really a secret,
Okay.
but something a lot of people overlook. He calls it specific knowledge.
Specific
Yeah,
knowledge.
imagine like the intersection of your DNA, your upbringing, and those things you're just naturally drawn to. That's
Okay.
where the magic happens. So not just being good at something, everyone's good at something, but honing in on that unique space
Exactly.
where you excel almost effortlessly.
Yeah, like Naval.
Yeah,
He combined his love for reading and tech, and he's this incredible venture investor.
right,
And it's not just luck,
right,
right?
right.
He talks about this idea of escaping competition through authenticity.
Okay,
Like you can't copy someone else's path. Could you imagine trying to be the next Joe Rogan?
right.
You might have a similar format, but it's your unique take on conversations,
Mm-hmm.
the guests you bring in. That's where your specific knowledge shines through.
It's like that old saying, be yourself, everyone else is taken,
Yes,
but applied to building wealth, which is, fascinating.
totally.
So how does this authenticity actually play out in the real world?
Well, Naval talks about how this ties into building wealth through compounding, and not just financially.
Oh, yeah.
You remember his long-term friendship, obviously business partnership, with Elad Gil.
Yeah, he talks about him a lot. Yeah.
So is this like finding your ride-or-die business partner early on?
Well, it's more about how consistently treating someone well compounds, just like interest.
Okay.
Like Elad would bend over backward in deals, always giving more than expected. And in return, Naval made sure to include Elad in everything,
Uh-huh.
amplifying both of their successes.
So it's a virtuous cycle.
Exactly.
So it's not just about spotting the next big thing in tech.
Right.
It's about building those genuine long-term relationships
right.
built on trust and mutual benefit.
And leveraging them.
Oh, leverage. They leverage their friendship to create even more success.
And speaking of leverage, that's actually our next point. Naval has this really intriguing view on leverage, especially in our modern world.
Leverage? Okay, that's a loaded word. What's Naval's unique take on it? Does he see it as just some financial wizardry?
Not quite. He actually says we live in an age of infinite leverage.
Infinite leverage.
Yeah, which, it sounds kind of intimidating at first.
But it's actually incredibly empowering.
Okay.
Think about it like this, right? In the past, your ability to really make an impact, it was limited by factors outside of your control.
Right.
If you wanted to build something, you needed a factory.
You needed a publisher to share your writing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Naval sees leverage in these three key ways.
Okay.
You got labor leverage,
Mm-hmm.
capital leverage,
Okay.
and then what he calls code and media leverage.
Okay.
And it's that last one that's really, really game-changing.
Okay, so break this down for me. Labor leverage, we're talking like the classic, hiring people to work for you, multiplying your output.
Exactly.
Capital leverage, using money to make more money, investments, all that.
Yeah, you got it.
Correct.
But this new kind of leverage, code and
Yeah.
media,
Yeah.
that's the real revolution
Okay.
because it's permissionless,
Missionless.
meaning you don't need anyone's approval to start a blog or build an app or record a podcast.
It's like we're doing right now. It's exactly.
It's like having an army of robots,
Yes.
working for you 24/7, spreading your ideas, your products, your services to a global audience.
Mm-hmm.
And the beauty is it's accessible to, almost anyone with a laptop and an internet connection these days.
Exactly. And this is where that specific knowledge we were talking about earlier, this is where it becomes supercharged.
Okay.
Because that unique perspective that you bring to the table, leverage amplifies its impact.
So your judgment about a new trend or
Yeah.
or your ability to create something truly unique in a sea of sameness.
Yeah.
That's what sets you apart.
Exactly.
And helps you actually succeed. Okay, so if someone's listening to this right now and they're thinking, okay, this all sounds amazing,
Yeah.
but how do I find my form of leverage?
Yeah.
What would Naval say?
He would probably tell them to look at where their passions and skills intersect with problems that need solving.
Okay.
Like, are you a natural storyteller?
Well, maybe podcasting or writing is your leverage.
Right.
Do you love connecting people?
Yeah.
Maybe building an online community is your thing.
It's about finding, that thing that you're uniquely good at and passionate about.
And that the world needs.
And that the world needs, yeah.
Right.
This is all about building wealth. And I know a lot of people, myself included, we hope that wealth will bring us happiness. But does Naval even see it that way?
That's the thing. He kind of flips the script on this whole pursuit of happiness thing.
Okay.
He'll tell you straight up, happiness is a choice.
A choice.
And it's a skill you develop, just like learning a new language or mastering a sport.
So it's not about chasing, some external measure of success, but about cultivating like that inner state of happiness.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's easy to say happiness is a choice, when your basic needs are met.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair. But Naval, he goes deeper than that.
Okay.
He talks about his own journey, going from like describing himself as a 2 out of 10
Wow.
on the happiness scale
Okay.
to a 9 out of 10.
Huh.
And what's so fascinating is that this transformation wasn't just about, financial success.
Right.
It was about really changing his mindset
Okay.
and his habits.
Okay, so how do we actually do that? Does he have like a step-by-step guide to happiness?
Well, he does share some really concrete practices that worked for him.
Okay.
And remember how we were talking about, compounding applying to more than just money.
Right, right.
He sees these practices as investments in your well-being
Okay.
that compound over time.
So what are some of these happiness habits that we can maybe start incorporating into our own lives?
Well, he's a big advocate for starting the day strong
Okay.
with things like, morning workouts
Mm-hmm.
and even cold showers.
Okay, hold on. Cold showers. You're gonna have to sell me on this one.
I know, it sounds extreme. But Naval talks about how the anticipation of the cold is actually worse than the cold itself.
Okay.
It's a mental game.
Right.
You face that initial discomfort, and then you realize, like, it's not that bad.
Right.
It's about building that mental resilience.
It was like a metaphor for life. Sometimes you got to embrace the discomfort to get to the good stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And beyond the physical, Naval's all about training the mind.
Okay.
He's a big proponent of meditation,
Okay.
specifically a technique called choiceless awareness
Choiceless awareness.
or non-judgmental awareness, it's also called.
Okay.
So imagine this. You're sitting there, thoughts are swirling around in your head.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of like getting caught up in them, judging them,
Yeah.
you simply observe them
Okay.
without getting carried away.
Without judgment.
Exactly.
Just letting them float on by.
like watching leaves float downstream.
Yeah. That's a good visualization. It sounds very peaceful. I could see how that would be helpful, especially in, our fast-paced world these days.
Right. It's about finding that inner stillness
Yeah.
amidst all the chaos.
The chaos of everyday life.
Exactly. And for
Yeah.
processing, like all those thoughts and emotions,
Mm-hmm.
he's also a huge advocate for journaling.
Okay.
He sees it as a way to kind of untangle your mind, gain clarity.
It's like that idea that you often have to slow down to speed up.
Yeah.
You got to take that time to reflect
Exactly.
and recharge.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to happiness, Naval doesn't shy away from the big questions either.
Okay.
He has this really powerful framing of death
Okay.
where he says, your life is a firefly blink in a night.
Your life is a firefly blink in a night.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it sounds kind of morbid when you first say it like that,
Right.
but it's actually quite beautiful when you think about it.
Mhm.
It really puts things into perspective.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our time here is precious. We shouldn't waste it on things that don't really matter, or get caught up in all the little things.
The negativity.
Yeah, all the negativity. So if we're not here to stress about all the small stuff, what should we be focusing on? Like, what's the ultimate goal according to Naval?
He would say your goal is to find that sweet spot where your unique talents and passions like align with a real need in the world.
Okay.
To find the, quote, people, business, project, or art that needs you the most.
The people, business, project, or art that needs you the most.
Yeah.
It's like finding that thing that makes you feel truly alive, where you can make a unique contribution. It's not just about the pursuit of wealth. It's about finding that sense of purpose,
Yes.
meaning.
And ultimately that's where true wealth and happiness reside.
Mm.
It's not about chasing someone else's definition of success,
Mm-hmm. Right.
but about forging your own path,
Yeah.
embracing your individuality,
Mm-hmm.
and making a real difference in the world.
It's about, like you said, Naval says, figuring out what you're willing to never compromise on, and then building your life around those values.
It's about living with intention,
Yeah.
pursuing your passions,
Mhm.
and building genuine connections.
It's about creating a life that's both fulfilling and impactful.
Yes.
Well, there you have it, a deep dive into Naval Ravikant's wisdom on wealth and happiness. Hopefully you gleaned some valuable insights from this.
Yeah.
Maybe even some inspiration to apply these principles in your own life.
Remember, it's your journey to create.
It's your journey to create.